I got mad at myself when listening to the last episode.
From how far away
Man,
you got.
just sit closer. I know you can't hear past me how distant you sound. You don't sound far away, but could you sit closer, please?
It's tough. It's tough trying to figure it out. But also, you don't have as accommodating a seat, I don't think.
Oh, I mean, no, but you know.
That's the way it goes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you put me on this large pitchfork, which is generally very painful, and you get to sit on a comfy
pitchfork.
a comfy one with a cushion on top. Oh,
Now, the one bum, it's a really tricky balance, and given it's not like I have a state of the art setup here or anything like that, but the closer you get, the more likely when you go police brutality, the P's really pop. Yeah. So. It's tricky. You also just have to kind of be trained enough to know how to not...
You're positively petulant, sir.
Oof, yeah, see, that's like you're punching my ears gently with those P's.
Like a lover would?
I suppose someone's version of a lover might...
Yeah.
It's time for me to box your ears, babe.
Not that Drew would know, of course.
Listen, I've had my ears boxed more than you'd think.
Oh, what? I don't think I've really...
Punch me harder in my ear.
I don't think I've really had my ears boxed. I know that was like a childhood thing that people did, but not really.
Was it? Boxing someone upon the ears?
Well, I mean, not like commonplace, but like in terms of like, we're young children. We inflict pain in new and creative ways through games like Mercy and pinching people for fun and things like that. I don't know.
I hated the game Mercy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a stupid fucking game. Like, let me torture you until you go, please don't torture me anymore. I'm like, I've always wondered what it'd be like if I was captured in a war. Like, what a fun game.
I know, right? So fun.
It's almost as fun as Waterboard Me.
The new game from Parker Brothers.
It's fucking dumb. Even as a kid, I'm like, isn't this beneath us, gentlemen? Like...
And then your friend's like, no.
Well, one time some asshole decided to play Mercy with me, and basically I did not, it was not consensual. They started bending my fingers back. Because my hands were immobilized, I wanted to get out of it, so I just fucking bit him. I just fucking bit him on the shoulder, and he was stunned like, you bit me. And I remember it did feel like, wow, that's a little surprising and a little bit weird. But in hindsight, looking back, I'm like, well, is it not equally surprising that you just decided to take someone's fingers and bend them all the way back until they went, please don't do that, sir? Like, what is more surprising? Like, I feel like biting someone when your hands are not available to use as a weapon to get out of pain.
Well, the law tells us that it must be proportional, the response.
Well, I got kicked out of summer camp for that day.
Oh, no.
No one really blamed me for it. I just kind of explained, I mean, someone was going to break my fucking fingers,
Man,
so I
how old
bit
were
them.
you?
I was in the third grade or something like that. So,
I've been there.
Not a great fight story. I used to fantasize all the time about getting into fights and winning. Like some guy, like, oh, I'm a big old dummy and I'm gonna be a jerk. Like, hey, don't touch my girlfriend or something stupid like that. And then it was just for the triumph, the feeling of, wow, you're important.
Yeah.
But honestly, there are a lot of ways to fantasize about triumph, and as the years roll by, it feels more and more barbaric, the idea of physical violence. Like, even the idea of there's a real scumbag that's, punching people, and you're like, I will settle this, but only because someone else started it. I'm like, I just don't even like the idea of having to settle it.
Yeah. I'm with you there. Like, violence, you think about it a lot, for people that you don't like, mostly your primary school peers, back in the day. But then I think as I've grown up, like, I realized, like, no matter how blameless you are in a fight, whoever's in charge will always, punish you accordingly, as well they should. I think, like, violence should never be the answer, and, certainly minor things or disagreements. The better triumph, I feel like, is the Schadenfreude triumph, where it's like, I don't like this guy. Man, like you don't wish like something horrible happens to them. Like you don't wish like their dog to die or something like that. But the guy's like, "Oh no, they're foreclosing my house," and then you're just like, "I've triumphed, for I have paid my mortgage bills on time." You see, because I'm the better person. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I definitely think if someone is being violent, often violence is the solution to stop them from being violent. But I used to kind of fantasize about being in a situation like that, and now I'm just like, I don't even want it to have to happen.
Yeah.
I hate the idea of it. And I think it also has to do with the feminist thing, because I mean, ultimately, to me, I see men and women as like super equal. But you know, there are obvious.
You do?
It might be a little crazy.
Wow.
But there are arguments that I have heard, and you know, the biggest one is the difference in biology, and specifically the physical biology. The shitty women can have babies, for example.
Yes.
If you did not know this,
I was aware.
and they breastfeed more easily.
Yes.
But men have more muscles, so they can get the oats for the oatmeal for supper. And basically what that's getting at is it really frustrates...
Honey, I need my oats!
Because how do I put this? I hate that men are physically stronger in an average situation than women, because I don't like the idea that when it came down to just physical confrontation, men would usually be able to overpower the women. That is really annoying and upsetting to me. And obviously it's led to a lot of shitty things happening to women.
Sure.
I mean, I don't think it's shocking for me to say. I don't like that. But it makes me wish that like that didn't exist, that difference in power dynamic. And so that's why I just find myself, as time goes by, wishing that like physical confrontations just never happened. And it sucks because in movies they're very entertaining. You want people to get in physical confrontations all the time in movies.
Well, and real life.
Well, at least
depending on the situation.
At least in movies these days we have more female superheroes and things like that, and it feels believable that women can hold their own. Like in the latest Spider-Man movie, we just saw that together.
The Spider-Man character.
Doc Ock got punched in the face, given it was by another female superhero, but we're getting there.
Yep.
And that's the point, is that there's kind of a level of fantasy in certain things. Then again, if it's something really raw and realistic, it kind of triggers me. But well, I guess Halloween would be a good example. The new one that just came out, Michael Myers will be able to overpower like a 60-year-old Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah. So it just... And it worked for that story because Jamie Lee Curtis is supposed to be an underdog character, but I don't... That's the only consolation to me that there is, because it's always really pissed me off, and it's probably weird that it's pissed me off as a man. Like, maybe that's how empathetic I'm really bothered by that's not fucking fair. It's not fair that women can't beat up men like just as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there are exceptions to the rule, but on average, I hate that it's like that. But the only consolation to me, because nothing's gonna change, like maybe evolution will eventually even us out.
I was gonna say, like, the whole reason it's like this is because of evolution.
Yes, exactly.
For better or for worse.
And I'm very excited for 100,000 years from now, when everyone's got the same muscles. And everyone can give birth. That might not happen.
Goody.
Well, actually, that would almost, like, I would love for muscles to be evened out, but I don't think it's... Boy, this could be a very interesting conversation. The problem, you kind of have... Men are strong, that's their thing. Women can give birth. So that's always kind of how I viewed it. Some people would go, women are more beautiful too, which technically that's a subjective thing.
That's not... It can be based on physical attributes, but not always.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think there is like a pretty solid objective argument to be made for it, but that's a whole separate thing. But basically, and I'm glad you do. If evolution winds up evening out the muscles, though, I don't think there's any reason evolution would touch how childbirth works. So then women will have, hey, we give birth, and men will be like, oh, well, we don't have anything, I guess.
Well, I think I'm not a biologist or anything like that, but I think if anything is going to happen first in 100,000 years, it's that women will figure out how to reproduce asexually, and fuck us, like
that could
we'll
be
just
really
be a side note.
It'd be great too because I'm thinking about gays, trans people, like. Mm-hmm. It sucks, but biology is making heterosexual sex. Mm-hmm. I won't say the word normal, yeah. But the way to do sex. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the way to create life.
Yep.
And unfortunately, there's not really an argument to be made against that. Like, yes, heterosexual sex creates life.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, if
the condom breaks.
Oh, yes. I'm not saying every instance of sex will create life, but
it is sufficient.
I like what you're saying, though. The idea that you could just... Well, no, because then in like a man-on-man relationship, they still wouldn't be able to have a child. Mm-hmm. Even if women can asexually reproduce, that's not going to make it so a gay men couple can have a child. So I want... it to be possible for everyone to be pregnant too.
Yeah.
Because it would really help gay and the whole LGBTQ community.
Right. I would like the choice of insemination regardless of gender.
No.
Because maybe you're in a relationship is like, oh, I have an easier stay-at-home job. I don't. Person who would be easier for can get pregnant.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
I just don't see how that's even fucking possible at all. Mm-hmm. Maybe if babies could this is so unglamorous and unromantic and like unholy, I guess, if you want to use that word, but the idea that all babies are just created in test tubes and make it more fair.
It would.
It's
also expensive.
Well, and 100,000 years from now, maybe it'll be not. Like $1, please. Inflation's gone up dramatically though, so that's actually $1 million.
Well, that'd be deflation.
Deflation?
Yeah. If $1 is worth $1 million, that's
no. The opposite is that what is $1 to us now is $1 million then. Oh no, you're right.
That is deflation.
I have fucked up the joke.
Yes, you did.
But the spirit of the joke remains.
The spirit of the joke does remain. And on that note, welcome to Whistle While You Dork, the show where we talk about biting people and then ending it on the eventual evolutionary progress of the human species.
Oh, I didn't. I still have like 3 points left to make. So.
Oh, well, go ahead and make them. I guess we got time.
He's Brandan Ray. And
I
am Drew D'Amelio.
Excellent.
I don't remember if we
don't really introduce ourselves. We just...
Oh, maybe it's about... What if no one ever knew who we were? And they've just been wondering, like, who are these people?
We say our names, though. That's the thing.
Do we?
Yeah. Not our full names, but...
Oh, so not our last names.
And I think on the first episode, I said...
No last names?
I gave out our Twitter handles, but that's it.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so it's not like I gave away your identity. That's... People know who you are. That's good. But
it's also it says our names on the description.
Yes, it also says it in the description. If you're seeing this on YouTube, the title.
If you'd also like my middle name, confirmed name, and social, please write care of Nick Padula. 413 Crescent Avenue.
But oh my god, I almost thought that was his address for a second.
No, it's not.
I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
He lives in Crescent, but that's different.
Oh shit, you're narrowing it down. Now someone can find him.
I am. Oops, my bad.
But basically, I think what I was getting at a while ago is, unfortunately, evolution has not happened as much yet, and so we have to deal with that shitty strength power dynamic, which I really don't like. But the only consolation to me is that in the movies, you like rooting for the underdog. Mm-hmm. In real life, often you like rooting for the underdog. Because often you want to see your hero deal with someone even bigger and badder and stronger, and you want to see them be able to take that person down anyway. And to me, like, a woman and a man in a physical confrontation, it sucks because the man has the advantage in most cases. Mm-hmm. But the woman will always, in those cases, be the underdog, and I think it'll always be easier to want to root for her. Mm-hmm. I think naturally people would probably root for her.
I would.
Yeah, I would too. So I think while we have to wait 100,000 years for evolution, I think that women at least have that, and it's not a great consolation, really. But it is a gentle silver lining on a very dark storm cloud, and I hate it. I hate it, but sometimes the only thing you can do is just try to find the things to be happy about, and that helps me get through it. Mm-hmm. Get through a very shitty thing.
What are your other points?
I think that was actually it, probably.
So you lied.
I did. I think I thought I would probably...
I have at least 12 other points.
I thought I'd have more points, but that's probably about it. How did we even get into talk? Oh, right, because we were talking about fights and stuff. Yeah, I mostly covered it, though.
Yeah, you did.
I also covered the Hollywood angle, too. Like, yes, physical confrontation is entertaining. Whatever. Ah, man, I can't wait to live in a world... Well, I mean, I'll be very dead. I
can't wait 100,000 years from now. Oh, well.
Yeah. You ever find yourself wishing that you could exist 100,000 years from now?
No.
Oh, I never have until this moment.
No. I want to die right the day after the tricentennial. And that's it. After that, I'm good, because then I'll be living in agony.
Tricentennial.
America's 300th birthday. Oh. Actually, I think it's got like a different name, like Tertiacentennial or something like that, which doesn't make sense. It's like, I don't know.
I mean, Brandon, you can probably live longer than that.
Longer than 83?
Yeah. I think with like decades from now, medicine will probably be like, you got another 10 years.
I don't know. It might regress.
Well, okay, that's fair enough. Like technology.
What if we run out of stuff?
That's true. Things could get really shitty, but technology just, especially now, seems to just be accelerating at a rate even more than it had been before.
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like there's a boom happening.
Well, that's the thing, is like everyone expected the baby boomers to die by now, and they haven't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it was certainly among many in like the scientific community and government an unexpected thing that happened. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Word of the day.
Let's do it. Give it here, son.
Okay, so I'm not even going to look this up. So there is a chance that this is not actually a word. I'm pretty fucking sure it's a word, though. I looked it up previously. Mm-hmm. Sipper.
Spell it, please.
Sipper. Mm-hmm. And now I am self-conscious, so I will actually confirm that this is a word. Well, I don't want to misinform you, Brandon, because what if you're on an amazing date and you're like, sipper, sipper, sipper. I did not want to use it in a sentence, so...
Can it be both a noun and a verb?
It is just a noun.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, no, this is not the word. This is not the word. Well, it is a word. It means a person who sips. But that's... You know what? Fuck it. I guess now that has to be the word. Like, that's not the word I was thinking, though.
A sipper. Person who sips. It's a profession. A person who sips something belongs to the sipper union.
I did not think we needed a word to describe, like, he or she who sips, like, but here we are.
Who's that? Oh, that's my sipper, sir.
Wow. What the fuck was the actual word that I was thinking of? This is bothering me, but we can't have more than one word of the day.
No, we cannot.
So maybe that'll just be my word next time.
Okay.
If I even remember it.
So for high on knowledge, I know you like numbers a lot.
I tend to.
Numbers are very good. I tried to stay away from sports when I do this, but I've talked about the Super Bowl on here before. But you're aware how like Super Bowls are numbered, right? Like,
yes.
Decades ago, there's Super Bowl 25, and now this year we're on Super Bowl 53. And they didn't do this at first, but I think for like at number 3 or 4 thereafter, they started using Roman numerals to describe the number. However, when they had Super Bowl 50 a few years ago, they said, "Screw it. We know Super Bowl 50 would just be L, but L by itself looks stupid if we market it that way. So they did it Super Bowl 50 50. And they said if it's divisible by 50 from here on to the end of time, we're going to use Arabic numerals. So Super Bowl 100 will be 100.
Interesting.
Which is, I'm like, okay, but again, like, it's marketing materials. It would be difficult to make an L, or in this case, a C look
Super Bowl loser.
it'd be weird. But at the same time, like, I can appreciate the use of Roman numerals in between, because Super Bowl 10, 20, 30, and 40 all looked cool in different ways. Super Bowl X, Super Bowl XX, Super Bowl XXX, the adult film Super Bowl.
Oh.
And I think the coolest one would have to be Super Bowl 40, Super Bowl XL. It's like, oh, this Super Bowl is extra large. How nice.
I need to lose weight for this Super Bowl.
But what I was thinking of with, as the numerals progress, I'm thinking, well, what's the longest a Roman numeral before you hit 100? And I'm in my head, I'm like, it's probably Super Bowl 88, which will be LXXVIII. Which, what'll they do then? Will they write out the full Roman numeral? What's the plan, NFL? Like, what do you think?
I think I don't know why the fuck they're even doing Roman numerals anymore. Just say fuck it.
Just do numbers?
Like, who cares?
Well, people thought that after 50 they would just start doing Arabic numbers, but they didn't. It's been L with increasing number of I's afterwards.
Go the way of Hollywood franchises, and at a certain point, just like, what's subtitles? Super Bowl Revolution. Like, all right, here we go. Super Bowl Uprising. Like, oh shit.
Super Bowl Extinction.
We have so many dumbass nouns that we can. Super Bowl Redemption. Literally, these are so generic, I don't even remember if I already said redemption.
Super Bowl, the curse of Super Bowl.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, we can get a little more adventurous.
The Super Bowl strikes again.
Return of Super Bowl.
The last Super Bowl.
The first Super Bowl. The prequel.
A new Super Bowl. Revenge of the Super Bowl.
That's very good.
Attack of the Super Bowl. The Phantom Super Bowl.
The last Super Bowl. Oh, you already said
I said that. Yeah, I was just taking the Star Wars subtitles and flushing them in there.
My brain went there a little delayed.
The Super Bowl Awakens.
Yeah. Super Bowl Insurgents.
Remember the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl Inception. I'm just trying to pick like buzzwords that have existed recently.
The Dark Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl Paradox.
Starring Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Attack of the Super Bowl.
I also said that.
Fuck!
Pay attention.
Back to the Super Bowl.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking at my movies over there.
That's good.
Kevin in the Super Bowl. Not quite as 12 Angry Super Bowls. The Super Bowl show.
Inside Out Super Bowl.
Oh, that's pretty bad, actually.
Super Bowl Get Out.
Super Bowl versus the world. That's pretty good.
The History of the Super Bowl Part 1.
The Edge of Super Bowl. My movie taste is becoming apparent. Mm-hmm. The SpongeBob SquarePants Super Bowl. I like that high on knowledge, though.
Cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, shall we lay into our main topic of discussion? You had come up with this when we were going over ideas previously.
Yeah, I feel like I spat it out because we were just trying to think of what are all the episodes we want to do. Mm-hmm. And I think I kind of just spat it out and wasn't really a fan of it. And so I removed it from the roster, if you will. But then you went, bring it back. I won't say no to that because it is a topic that I feel I could bring a lot to.
Mm-hmm. And myself for different reasons. And that topic is, of course, the subject of theme parks. And if I'm being real candid, I've only been to, I want to say, less than 5. If I'm counting off, it would be one that's by where we live, a Six Flags New England, Busch Gardens in Tampa Bay, SeaWorld, Universal Islands of Adventure, and I guess would you count the Disney parks separate, or the Disney Resort is like one thing?
In Disney World you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, they should be counted separately, I think.
Okay, in that case, 8, because I went to Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and of course Magic Kingdom.
Cool.
So 8. That's probably more than an average person. Actually, well, if you can, well, how big does a theme park have to be? Because there is also another, I guess it's a theme park. Well, 2 theme parks, like, because growing up, that we had Hoffman's Playland, which has now moved. It's still operational, but it's now moved and under new management. And there was also a place in the Adirondacks called the Magic Forest. It was more like old time. Like these were old theme parks. Like they had old-ish rides.
Like, is it a theme park or more like a carnival?
Well, it's not a carnival, because to me, a carnival like moves and stuff. Whereas parks are stationary.
It felt like a carnival that they decide, well, we can just keep this here, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, because that's another question, I guess, is would carnivals even count as a theme park? Or like, even like theme park might not be the right word for it, because theme park implies that there is a theme, which is not always true. So amusement park is probably...
I would say theme or themes. Like
Hershey Park, I feel fits theme park, but then
yeah,
I guess you could argue Six Flags. It's like the theme is Texas, but it's like
well, no, because I mean, even in Six Flags parks, like they have different areas, don't they? I haven't been to New England in a while.
I don't know though. I feel like with Disney World, you have like a very clear like this is a theme park. Mm-hmm. There is a theme here. Mm-hmm. Like I know that Harry Potter Wizarding World is not actually like its own park, but
it's a region in.
But Universal Studios is the theme is Hollywood, specifically Universal Hollywood. Like, except there's kind of Marvel rides here, so just don't think about that.
Yeah, it's Universal rides, and also the IP we have licensing rights too.
You like Dr. Seuss and the Minions? Like, oh no!
Well, the thing is, they own Dr. Seuss and the Minions, and Jurassic Park, but they. I guess when Marvel was bankrupt, I guess they got the licensing thing for Marvel to put up that thing in Islands of Adventure, and also they bought the theme park rights from Warner Brothers to create the Harry Potter sections too. But yeah, but I've only been to Islands of Adventure. I've never been to Universal Studios proper.
Huh.
So I'm sure you've been to like much more than mine, because you've been to everywhere. Oh well, and I guess Typhoon Lagoon and that's another thing. Do you count water parks as theme parks?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
They probably should.
Then my list groweth more by a bit. Then I guess
I haven't been to too many more than you have, honestly.
Yeah. Well, you've been to Animal Kingdom, and you've been to Disneyland, and you've been to California.
You never went to Animal Kingdom and Disney World?
Not once.
But they have like the animals.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, I like animals, but the thing with Animal Kingdom is I look at the map, and here's the thing, like, I'm a map junkie. Like, I love looking at maps, reading maps, like, reading map descriptions and all those things, legends and all that.
Yeah.
So I loved, like, having our map brochure or whatever coming back from family vacation to Disney World over spring break and just reading the map and be like, these attractions we didn't get to go on, I'd sure like to go on next time, or next time I gotta be sure to hit these first in this order. I look at the Animal Kingdom map and I'm like, maybe 3 of these look fun.
Well, now they got Avatar World.
Oh yeah.
And
the rides there, like one of them is based on like the Soarin' technology. Did I hear that?
Yeah, it was a much better Soarin'. Mm-hmm. Soarin' was always kind of dumb, but you're like, well, this is a cool gimmick. But yeah, the Avatar ride makes it have a point, which is nice. I mean, not that I'm encouraging Avatar World to exist. It's called Pandora or some shit.
Yeah, it's Pandora.
It does not fit in, I feel like, not only in Disney worlds, but in Animal Kingdom specifically. There's an argument. Avatar is all about nature. And yes, in that sense, it does fit in, but just...
But are you also, like, sort of putting the neo-colonialist message out there that the Na'vi are indeed animals, as opposed to just other species of people?
No, because Animal Kingdom, I see it less... I know it less, like, about animals and more just about nature.
It is more about nature, since it opened, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it was originally supposed to be about animals of the past, present, and future, which I guess every Disney theme park was supposed to be like that, but then they ran out of money. So they were like, well, we were going to do a section that had mythical beasts, and it would have been cool, like the future animals, but we can't afford that. But we can still do the dinosaur land, which just looks like shit. And like that previously, before the Avatar land, I'm like, what a weird fucking section of the park.
About Disney's dinosaur. Is that still there?
Dino USA, I think it's called. Yeah, it's still there. And it feels so utterly stupid, but I kind of love it. It's so dumb, but I love it. And now they have Avatar where I'm like, okay, well, now it has company of just stupid shit that exists in Animal Kingdom. Perfect.
But, well, here you are ripping on it, and, like, now, like, here's the reason, like, I, wouldn't want to go to it. But
I mean, the Avatar ride, I hate admitting it, but it is definitely, that alone is worth going to the Animal Kingdom for. Kilimanjaro,
Expedition Everest,
Expedition
the
Everest
Safari
is
too,
a
right?
really good roller coaster. That's probably it.
Well, I still remember, and maybe you do too. Do you remember it was an ad / TV spot / thing to put in front of a Disney Channel VHS thing in like their trailer preview section? The commercial for Animal Kingdom.
You're gonna have to describe it a little bit.
It's this dark room, and it's filled with like models of the theme parks. Like, first came the Magic Kingdom, then Epcot, then Disney MGM Studios, and now, and it's this like jar full of sparkly magic or something, and it pops open, and now, boom, na Sigonia, and then it's Disney's Animal Kingdom opening this summer in the Walt Disney World Resort.
And it's
Christmas. like this, the sparkles fly out of the jar, and like all this nature and animal life like springs up in the room.
I do not have familiar.
And I was like kind of hyped for that. I'm like, oh, that seems pretty cool. New theme park, how nice. And then we never went to it.
It's not where, I mean, back in the day, I went to Disney World for the first time in 2001, and honestly, everything kind of sucked except Magic Kingdom. I would say Hollywood. It's currently Hollywood Studios.
I will call it Hollywood.
I do. The name is better, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean
Disney MGM Studios. Is
MGM implies one property, which is not what you have.
Yeah, it was weird. But like, it took them long enough to get to Hollywood Studios. So what I don't get, basically every theme park had an icon. You got the Kingdom and Magic Kingdom. You have the big old fucking golf ball is what everyone's like. Golf ball, but I don't even know what.
Stop knocking Spaceship Earth. I like that ride.
No, I'm not saying anything against the ride. I just don't know what to refer to the object as.
It's a large geodesical sphere.
Is that like you have the Kingdom, the large geodesical sphere? Like,
yes,
just the golf ball. Like we need a buzzword to describe it.
And then the Tree of Life you're getting at for Animal Kingdom.
Yes, and for Hollywood Studios, the hat, the Sorcerer's hat,
which is now gone.
Yes, I'm like, I get that they put it there temporarily and it stayed there like way too long. But
it was for Walt's 100th birthday, right? Something like that.
But it became an icon. It became that thing. And after removing it, I'm like, what is your thing in the park now? Mm-hmm. What is it? And I have a feeling they're going to replace it eventually, because I know this is the way it works at Disney World and probably most theme parks, is that progress is so fucking slow. It's just glacial. And like, in 2027 they'll finally get around to actually putting an icon there. Mm-hmm. And I love it too, because when you make a bad movie, it kind of comes and goes. If you make a bad attraction, that shit just stays there. And there are some things in Disney World that are just still just there and sucking. And why do people go?
Well, let's expand for a bit. What are, in terms of like large theme parks that you've been to, be it Disney or non, because always trying to just have us not be exclusively about Disney topics, as fun as they are.
Yeah, I mean, Disney World is easily going to be what I have the most to say about.
What rides do you dislike the most at that park or others that you've been on?
Well, I guess we still have to kind of figure out a definition. Like, amusement parks is what I'll call it.
Amusement parks is, theme parks are like a subcategory.
I would include carnivals, even though they come and go.
No. If we're calling them amusement parks, I'm with you there.
And I like the New York State Fair. Something that I lived 5 minutes away from at one point, which was really fucking cool. I've always been really into carnivals. I hate the idea of the food, and even the culture is kind of frightening to me.
That's the thing, is like when I was very young, well, not very young, but like as a kid, we went to some of the local county fairs around the area, and I just remember going to one, maybe a bit under the weather, and then getting real nauseous with the rides and the food and the everything, and then being like deathly sick for like the next week.
Oh no.
Which I guess is like, hey, you had your good full carnival experience. Good on you, kid. But I don't know. But then you can't really tie that to any one negative ride experience.
Well, actually, this can transition into my Animal Kingdom story.
Okay.
Which I can't believe I glossed over during our Animal Kingdom section. But basically, this story will make you want to go to Animal Kingdom. I was vacationing with my fam, and they were making us drink Florida orange juice. You know, the thing Florida does. It had pulp in it, and I grew up with no pulp orange juice. I do not understand why anyone would go, more pulp, please.
Mini rant. Have you seen the orange juice that says lots of pulp?
What fucking monster?
Who the hell is that for? Who is that for? Who is that for?
I'm going to meet my dream woman, but then she's going to buy that in a grocery store, and I'm going, oh no.
Oh, we have to break up now. Man.
But anyway.
Yeah. So you're drinking the
My
OJ.
parents are strict enough, and they're like, drink the juice. I'm like, it's fucking gross. No, you piece of shit, drink it. This is exact dialogue. So
I don't know. This is kind of a Jonestown feel, but okay.
So I drank the whole thing. We go into Animal Kingdom, and that juice just has not been sitting well with me. You could argue that maybe something was in my stomach, that the juice was merely a coincidence. But long story short, not long after we get into the park, I run to the nearest bathroom because I'm about to vomit. However, the vomit began during the run, so there is a long trail of vomit leading into the bathroom. And all over my Animal Kingdom shirt. And I threw up in the Animal Kingdom. I just thought that was interesting. There's also a story about the carnival, specifically the New York State Fair. I've always loved those fairs. I used to try to get people to go with me to them every year when they were in town. I like the rides. They can be really intense sometimes, but there's just something fun. Especially, I like the idea of them traveling. Like we used to, in my friend group, every summer on August 1st we would go to an amusement park, like a Six Flags or something like that. We haven't done that in a while, but yeah, those were fun, those trips, because you'd travel. But I liked the idea of it like coming to you.
Okay.
Like a tour. The idea of touring amusement parks is so fucking cool.
Well, the State Fair doesn't really come to you so much as
not the State Fair.
Appears.
But like other carnivals and fairs, they usually travel.
Oh, yeah. Well, the one they have in town.
Yeah.
Like, every May. I love that one.
I haven't been in a while.
Me too.
We should go.
Yeah, in 6 months.
And actually, okay, so you wanted to do... Oh, it was your last spring break or something?
Yeah.
And you had this idea, let's go to places in New York we've never been. And I went...
No.
Oh, this sounds boring.
No, you said no.
Yes. But then I felt kind of bad, because I'm like, well, I want to, like... let me think of something. I can't just say no. Let me try to be proactive here and come up with something fun we can do. And so I'm really just trying to think of something. And the Mall of America crossed my mind, and I just...
He did propose the Mall of America.
Because basically I was thinking about, well, I mean, Syracuse has the New York State Fair and has a really nice mall and things like that. And I think I was thinking about Syracuse because I went to college there, so... I was thinking, that got me on big malls. I'm like, well, what malls are there besides Destiny USA, which is an amazing mall? And so I look up the Mall of America. Not only is this like a city, basically.
Come on and gather round and come on and gather round and come on and gather round and start the book again this week. Yes.
But there is an amusement park in the mall, and that's not the entire mall. It is merely a section of this gigantic mall.
Aren't there two?
Stop.
I'm pretty sure there's two.
From what I know, there's one.
Okay.
There's the Nickelodeon amusement park. If there's another one, you're going to break my brain.
Yes.
But it seemed amazing, and I really want... Brandan... Because the big problem, Brandan, because you had proposed a budget of, like, I don't know, it'll be like $1,000 or spring break trip, and I'm like... Because Brandan and I, the prophecies have foretold a financial difference between us.
Well, even then,
yes,
I was not really willing to spend anything. What was it? Was it I said we can't spend more than this, or is it like this is what traveling to Minnesota will net us?
Well, no, this was before Minnesota. I think when I was asking how much you thought the trip of like just going to different places in New York we haven't been, you put out a number that I was like, oh my god, I cannot even possibly afford that. So I think I was trying to find a cheaper alternative, and then I found that, and I'm like, this will probably be even more. But like, it wasn't going to be 1,000, but I think it was easily going to be like 750 or something like that.
Yeah, for plane tickets. Yeah.
And I mean, it's still a dream, Brandan. And you're the person I want to go with because you're the person I conceived it with. But
yes. Okay.
Man, I want to fucking go to an indoor amusement park in a fucking mall. It sounds amazing. Back to the New York State Fair. Because I don't even know if it's a great story, but basically, there was this ride that was the most intense ride I've ever been on. It was so awesome. I thought I was going to die. I loved it.
Where was this?
It was at the New York State Fair.
Oh, at the State Fair.
I can't remember what it was called. I don't even know how to describe it. But basically, the way this ride moved, some rides... will spin around, and some of them will go upside down, and some will go in a circle. I feel like this did every possible movement at once. There were forces working on me that I didn't know existed. I'm like, whoa, I've like discovered physics today. It was insane. I almost didn't know where I was. But the problem is, because of these brand new forces, I could not anticipate that my phone, which was in my pocket, and listen, I don't have slack in my pockets. Like, they're tight. The phone was very snug in my pocket. Somehow it went up the back of my shirt and fell out of my neck hole and fucking flew off the ride. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
That'll ruin your experience.
And luckily, it was toward the end of it, and I think this was my second time in the ride. No, it was definitely the first. But I was like, what the fuck? And I was looking all over for my phone, and I was there with a friend, so he wound up tracking my phone, and I was shocked with how far away it had gone. I'm like, holy shit. And like, not only was it launched the fuck away, but it was still alive because we were able to track it.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? That's amazing. But then all of a sudden we noticed, the phone's moving. Somebody stole it.
Uh-oh.
So the next day, I go to this house, which is this bumfuck place. And the door opens and I say, hey, did you happen to find a phone at the fair the other day? And this is just some fucking bum. And there's a baby crying in the back. And he's like, I haven't been to the fair in a long time. Like, okay, you probably have my phone and you're trying to sell it so you could feed your baby or buy beer. Or both. Feed your baby with the beer. But basically, I called the cops. I called 911 and I went,
Wow.
I would like to report robbery. Where did it happen? The New York State Fair. We don't deal with that. You have to talk to the fair cops. I'm like, okay, so I go back to the fair. And it's just like a fucking trailer that just has like a fair cop. Like, hi, someone stole my phone. All right, just put that down on this piece of paper. Hey, isn't this the last day of the fair? Yeah, so what happens? Basically, we give up. I'm like, all right. Never saw that phone again.
I'm sorry.
And I decided, I don't know why, but I'm like, I'll just not have a phone anymore. And so I just refused to use a phone for 2 months. And you'd think I would be the one to crack. Everyone around me cracked. Like, especially my family. Drew, get a fucking phone. Like, I don't need one. No, we're tired of emailing you. Get a fucking phone. I'm like, yeah, okay. Though since then, I've had a very good track record with my phones. Like I had a period of time where I just went through 10 phones in 3 years. It was, I mean, I have stories I could get into, which is a huge tangent. I gotta tell my favorite phone story because I guess that would be my favorite, but this one was the best of the 10, I would say.
Okay.
Is that in college, my phone would be my alarm, and it was a dorm room at the time, and usually I'd have my phone would be on my bed, and I would have a bottle of water on the floor. And basically, if I got thirsty at night, I'd reach down to the floor and I'd drink the water. This was the one time I ran out of bottled water, and so I got a cup of water and put it on the floor. Whatever. And the cup of water is like very far away from the top of the bed. So I have the alarm on, blah, blah, blah. Not only was this the first time that my phone got knocked off the bed, but it perfectly landed directly in the cup of water and did not knock over the cup of water. What, like, that's fucking incredible. So I wake up, like, oh shit, am I late? Look for my phone, don't know where it is, think it must have fallen on the floor, look down.
Did you wake up on your own? Or
I woke up on my own.
Oh, so the alarm...
No, the phone was
the
dead
alarm
as
didn't
shit
go.
because my phone drowned.
Okay.
And I just look down, and my first reaction is not even anger, but just amazement. I go, wow. Like, the conditions that had to be met in order for this to happen.
Wow. God must hate me.
It was incredible. But, yeah, so amusement parks are fun.
Hooray. Well, what rides will you not go on?
Will I not go on?
Because you had a bad experience with something, or
there's no ride I won't go on. I guess kiddie rides. Pretty much
those even like you can't, given if you're a certain height.
Yes, that's true. I kind of at Disney World especially, I'll pretty much. There will be some years I'll just try to go on every single ride. I'm like, I don't fucking care. I just want to go on it. I'm curious. But, sometimes, especially at lesser amusement parks, like a carnival or something, I'll go, okay, I don't think I need to do that ride. It looks wimpy for me or something like that. So it's really the only ride I won't go on, but I will do any degree of intensity. There is basically nothing that I've gone, I don't know about that one. That's too intense. And this is to the detriment of all my friends, because pretty much everyone I go to an amusement park with, I out-thrill them, and they're like, oh my God, like, Drew, just fucking stop.
We haven't gone to amusement parks together yet, so we'll have to try that.
Yeah,
and like I when I talked about the one I went to in Denmark on this program, I mentioned like I was so devil may care about whether I lived or died at that point. But the one ride I would not go on was like this crazy rocket ship spin around very fast in all different directions kind of thing. Because I'm like, well, I'm not nauseous right now, but I will be, and I'd rather not be.
Yeah,
I'd rather be. That's the thing. I'd rather be dead than be nauseous.
I can feel myself becoming more vulnerable. Mm-hmm. What's the thing on the playground where it just spins around like a wheel? I don't know what
like the merry-go-round.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Basically, I used to love that shit as a kid. Mm-hmm. I still love it in theory, but basically, kids don't have a center of gravity like completely formed yet, and so the burden of growing up, the only true burden is that when you're on a swivel chair spinning around, as you get older, you're like feeling the effects of it, which fucking sucks. Like I was in an office waiting for a meeting and just spinning around, and after less than a minute, I'm like, oh fuck me, like no, my powers, like, and so that sucks. I have a center of gravity, and hopefully it doesn't get much worse than that, because I can still do thrill rides, but I definitely, I'm sure as a kid I was even more capable of it. Like, to think that my power was only just what I could have accomplished as a child.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I love all thrill rides. There's actually, there's a time I went to Disney World, and I thought I might be dying. I mean, basically, I would have these, like, weird pains near my heart, and I had not gone to a doctor to figure out what it was yet, but it was a little suspect, because not only would I have these weird pains near my heart, but, like, I'd feel my left arm occasionally start to hurt. I'm like, I'm no doctor, but
that's not good.
This seems concerning. And basically, to spoil what happened when I went to the doctor, I go to the doctor and I explain the symptoms, and he's, yeah, your heart looks fine because we checked it. Basically, it's just a muscle, see? And he just takes a huge scoop of my fucking breast and squeezes. I'm like, I'm a man, but I feel sexually harassed right now. And he's like, yeah, you feel the muscle? And I'm like, I feel you grabbing my breast. Like,
ow, my boob.
I don't even, like, it wasn't a breast until he grabbed it. He, like, I'm like, you've created a tit. Like,
oh, no.
But yeah, I'm still, I mean, it hasn't really been something I noticed as much, but I'm like, really, I'm just like having pain in the exact areas that it would seem. I don't know, it was a little weird to me, but there's the context. I thought I was dying, could not confirm I wasn't dying, still went on the rock and roller coaster.
Oh.
And usually in those, they do a countdown, and then the roller coaster goes from like 0 to 75 or some shit. 3, yeah.
2,
it goes real fucking fast.
I love that ride.
And usually, like, there's
so much.
There's a little tension, but I'm fucking into it. I'm like, this is awesome. This time, the countdown's going on, and I'm like, I could die. Like, this might kill me. And usually I'll pose for the pictures, but in that picture, you just see the face of someone that's like, am I gonna die? Like, so it's kind of amazing. Like, I did not die. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I like. I feel well. The last time I was on that was not. The last time I was in Disney World was 9th grade, and I don't know what it is. I think the majority of the poses I've made on that in particular is. I mean, a lot of roller coasters do take your picture, and I pose in different ways with them. Like I dabbed on one fairly recently, but this, like, the thing with the rock and roller coaster, like, it's so intense, like, and this is going to be very difficult to show because this isn't a video production, but I'll make this face that's like a very huge grimace like this.
Oh wow!
Like when we're going, and
this sounds like a really good grimace.
It's just like really bad, and I mean it's a very happy, excited emotion that I'm feeling, but that's how it comes out. It comes out with.
Oh, it's not intentional.
It's sort of intention. It's not intentional. Like if it happens, if it happens, it's because of a reflex, an emotional and physical reflex. But yeah, I'm getting into thrill things. You know, the first time going on anything is a bit scary. But
were you not into them at first?
No, I mean, I would go on, you know, roller coasters when I finally got to be tall enough, you know, with coaxing, and as soon as I went on them, I'm like, oh, these things are great. Like, why would I not? What was I saying? Yeah, thrill rides I'm good with. Horror rides, not so much.
So you don't like the sort of haunted harvest?
No, I do not. I do not. I heard you and a certain friend of ours talk about the movie Hellfest the other day, and I think you were talking you both seem to sound like, oh, this park sounds like really cool. I'm like, no, it does not.
This is podcastception right here.
Sounds very, very, very bad.
This is very bizarre to be referencing that other.
Well, I'm just saying because you and our friends seem to like the haunted hayride / houses a lot, and I'm like, I'm not about that, man.
It's tricky. I seem to pick and choose when I'm going to actually be scared by things like that. The Conjuring
and for reasons why, see our previous episode on horror and stuff like that.
Yeah, oh yeah, we probably already talked about this one.
Maybe.
But yeah, I'm into it. We went to an amazing one. We try to go to a haunted attraction thing every year, and we went to one place that had 5 different attractions. They were all varying levels of quality, but one of them was so it was just a bunch of fucking fences that made a maze. Sounds boring as shit. What made it amazing?
No.
Two things amplified this. The strobe lights and the fucking fog. It got so trippy. The further into the maze you got, I don't know how they did it, but the more fog there was, and the monsters wouldn't even kind of jump out and scare you. They just suddenly appear within the fog. And at one point, it's so disorienting because you just don't have a sense of how much space there is between you and anything. And at one point, this monster started walking backwards as I was walking forward. And slowly disappearing into the fog, and I felt high.
True, that wasn't a monster.
It might. I could have been imagining it, but that was amazing. Okay. That was so cool. I don't even know if that. I suppose that fits into the discussion.
Now, do you call those theme parks?
I guess I'd lump it into Carnival.
But the flip side is it's seasonal as opposed to traveling.
Basically anything that involves amusement there's a certain feel to it, you know what I mean? And it's something that has attractions. I'm not talking shows necessarily, but attractions, things that you get in a line for, you go through.
Yeah.
I'd lump that in. And I thought it was interesting you talking about, I guess we both talked about pictures, because some rides will have pictures, and that has always been a thing for me.
Oh, where they take a picture, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've always tried to go above and beyond and get really creative. Lately, I've had the goal, I've gotten a little lazy, but I really just want to make this goal happen where I want to look directly into the camera. This is exceptionally hard to time.
It is incredibly so.
Because, there are many pictures over the years of just me failing because I have not yet succeeded. But I'm like, you gotta try. You're gonna have bad pictures until you get the one perfect one. But I think my proudest moment, there would be a lot of times where I can't even remember any of the creative things I do, but I just keep trying creative poses. My favorite one of all time, and I have this framed upstairs. You've probably seen it. Was the Tower of Terror.
Oh, that one is, guys, what he's about to describe is the most hilarious shit I've ever seen.
I just brought a sign that said "Yikes" with an exclamation point. And it was I was in the perfect spot in the picture and just held up the sign. It looked amazing.
Well, what he's not saying is that his mother, his father, and his sister are pointing down the line in a row. So your eyes naturally want to go from left to right. So you start left. Well, they're pointing left, but your eyes follow right. So right,
and I'm
right,
very right.
And then Drew's holding up a sign that says yikes with a surprised face.
Yeah, that's true. Aesthetically, that does work really well. There's such a funny story behind getting that picture, though.
Yeah, you said you had to sneak it in.
Well, no, getting the picture taken wasn't hard, but then I obviously wanted it printed. But I was being so it was a fun thing. Haha, you got yikes in the picture. Yeah, let's get a picture. But I was getting really particular about it because, this is a good picture. I wanted the framing to be right. So I wanted them to zoom in. I wanted it moved over more. And clearly my dad's patience was, gone after 2 minutes. It's Drew, come on. And, at one point we left, but I was super unsatisfied. And my dad knew it was bothering me. And like we fucking went back. I'm like, I'm sorry, I just, can we change something? So like it went from being really awesome to just entirely pathetic. But the picture is still great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really respect people that, you know, as long as they're not being dangerous, have some really good, solid poses. For
Yeah, Tower of Terror seems to be the place for it, at least in Disney World. Because I don't know, other than Splash Mountain, I don't know what else takes your picture at this point.
Oh, there are at Disney World, at least, a great deal of places that take your picture. Although now with the age of cell phones, they want you to buy the picture, and they know a lot of people just take a picture with their cell phone.
Uh-huh.
So they just have watermarks and shit and numbers all over it to discourage, like, yeah, this isn't going to be a good picture unless you buy it. But I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like, and most people don't fucking care. They just, honestly, just make it free. I know there's a lot of money to be mined from that, but at this point in the digital age, just make it free.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yep.
But, you know, they care because they want money.
Well, make it either make it free or sell it at cost or like just above cost.
Yeah, because
whatever cost there is.
The value of pictures has gone down tremendously in the age of the internet. Like it used to be like, wow, a picture. Like in the 1800s, I imagine like this is very valuable. In 2018, are you fucking kidding me? They're not valuable anymore. Just fucking give us a digital code.
But the rights associated with them are.
That's a whole other thing. Yes, that is interesting.
Yeah.
But okay, well, so I'm in a picture at an amusement park, and there are strangers there with me. If I purchase the picture, what are the legal rights associated? Like, am I allowed to purchase a picture that technically has someone else without their permission?
So that's less the copyright and more like the privacy rights. And
so can I display it in my home without their permission?
Sure, and like in a private place, like people have been doing that forever.
They have. I just wonder, like, this is secretly illegal.
So I can neither say how legal or illegal it is. All I know is that people do it all the time. Now, if you were like taking stuff for like a commercial enterprise, that might be a different story. I honestly don't know. But fair point.
Okay. Well, I guess favorite rides, best ride experiences, because I've got one in mind.
Well, we haven't gone over our negative experiences, unless
I basically almost never have a negative experience.
You've not had one negative experience?
I fucking love amusement parks. The throw-up one was probably the worst one.
But that's not a ride. I'm talking about rides and stuff.
Oh, a negative experience on a ride?
Yeah.
Basically only when it breaks down, when it ceases to function, then it becomes negative, which happens sometimes. In Space Mountain at Disney World, this didn't happen until the very end, but basically as the ride ends and you're about to go back into the queue, the fucking lights came on, and oh my god, does that take the fun out of it. Because you
can see everything.
Because you just, not only is everything white, and that's completely wrong, but everything looks like shit. It's like, it's so dusty. I'm like, oh my god! And I'm so glad I
haven't cleaned this in 50 years.
I don't know how the fucking lights came on, but wow, did that look bad. But my all-time favorite instance of a ride breaking down. This ride no longer exists, and it was a pretty fun ride. The Great Movie Ride in Hollywood Studios. Basically, what would happen?
That ride.
Yeah, you'd go through classic movies, and there'd be animatronics, and it'd be really stupid, but it'd be really enjoyable. But at one point, your ride gets hijacked by a mobster.
By
in one scene. Yeah, and so he's doing the tour for a while. The problem is, though, the Great Movie Ride would break down a lot, and the Great Movie Ride broke down as the fucking mobster is your tour guide, and he's supposed to stay in character. He's just like, he wants to reassure everyone that it's going to be okay, but he's supposed to be an asshole that's kidnapping all of us.
And you had a male Bugsy?
Yes.
Because I've had a female one a couple times.
Okay, well, yeah, we had a male one that's just like, everyone better not move. This is probably going to start again soon.
Did you see him struggling?
Well, basically, listen, we were sitting there for at least 15 minutes at a certain point, and by the 15-minute mark, he's like, ladies and gentlemen, just please come. He had to. Like, it's just like had to break
Cast
character.
members don't break, sir.
But like, he's kidnapping us. Like, he's gonna have to just like, all right, I gotta start killing people. Like,
Nobody moves, or I off you, son.
one of you get this ride to work, or I'll kill this child. Like, basically, you either break character or you break the human spirit. Like, something's gonna.
Oh, well, obviously, you choose the latter.
But that is always hands down my favorite instance of a ride breaking down. And yeah, I mean, I would argue that it was kind of fun. Ooh, okay. I think we talked about this on the podcast, actually.
So. Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh.
The fucking asshole taking pictures in a dark ride.
Yeah.
That was annoying. Like, fuck you! Like, just look at it. Just look. Like, wow.
I do remember that. Yep. So.
Well, what about you? What about your negatives?
I really. Either. Because I know I've had them, but now I can't trying to think of specifically what. I know one for sure, but I'm trying to think if anything was worse. I mean, I cried like a little baby when I was like 10 on the Haunted Hayride, which is probably past the age. And then like I calmed down and like it was fun for the rest of it.
That's good.
But I mean, I want to say, because like thrill rides never liked. Oh well. So thrill rides never really got me. However, I will tell two stories that weren't. One wasn't really negative, but it was surprising. Another was negative, but then after the fact, it was less so. So I've made it no question, or I've made it quite clear on this podcast that I was quite afraid of the motion picture Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs from a very young age.
Yes.
And there was this ride at Magic Kingdom called
Snow White's Scary Adventures.
Snow White's Scary Adventures. Now, years later, we were back at Disney World, and it was like, I'll be fine if we go on Snow White's Scary Adventures. Like, I think it's fine now. And my dad's like, I think it's just called Snow White's Adventures. I think you call it scary because you're afraid of like. No, Dad. It's called Snow White's Scary Adventures. I'm like, are you sure? Yes.
It does seem like a weird name.
It is a very weird name. And well, was it not Kevin Perger who does Defunctland, but the guy who does Yesterworld, whatever his name is. If you're familiar with,
I know Defunctland, not Yesterworld.
Yeah, it's he's done a lot of collab with the guy from Yesterworld. If for those listening, definitely watch Yesterworld. It's a great show about theme parks and past rides that are now gone, or how rides have changed over there. And he did a great one for this past Halloween with the Snow White ride. So when I was like, fresh off of seeing Snow White on VHS and having that scare me, we go on the ride at Disney World, and I'm scared. I'm like, I don't know, 3 or 4 at this point. So
wow.
Whatever's whatever. And then over a decade later, I go back on it, and I'm like, well, still kind of scary, honestly. But apparently it was much scarier. Like the witch animatronic used to be a lot scarier.
I believe it.
But apparently in like an earlier version of the Disneyland ride, I think it was the Disneyland, not the Magic Kingdom one. She keeps trying to like kill you, like Wile E. Coyote style.
I remember reading up on this and wishing I could have experienced it.
Well, yeah, because now that version is gone. But
I mean, all versions are gone.
What? They got rid of it?
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
Aww.
They got the new mine shit.
Oh, right. I thought they turned Thunder Mountain Railroad into that.
No, they still have Thunder Mountain. They just built like a whole new area.
Okay.
And it's fine.
Stupid.
The
PC
animatronics
culture.
are amazing, but that's pretty much it.
It's two on PC.
What, the Scary Adventures?
Yeah, the scariness of it.
Well, I just don't think it was popular at a certain point.
Maybe.
I think they're like, okay, it's been like 15 years and no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I gotta ask, did they get rid of the flying elephants, or?
They will never get rid of that.
And yet, the line is always so long.
Yeah,
and it's ridiculous.
It's iconic, so they're just
guess.
never gonna get rid of it. Like if you could pick the top 3 Disney World rides that people are like, yeah, that one. Flying elephants is definitely one of them.
Yep. And is the carousel still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So the other story is first time at Islands of Adventure, and I think my mom and my sister, my youngest hadn't been born yet, went to like a different part of the ride. She was still pretty young, so she didn't want to go on this thrilling adventure ride in the Jurassic Park area.
I'm sorry I bedinged in the middle of your story.
That's fine. So my dad, me, and I want to say my then 60-plus almost 70-year-old grandmother went on the Jurassic Park River ride.
Oh.
We are front row of the carriage. It's my dad, me, my grandmother, and then these two college girls who would not stop screaming at everything. And have you been on this ride? I'm not sure how much I should be describing it.
Is this at Disney World?
No, this is at Islands of Adventure.
Universal Studios?
Yeah, the river ride in Jurassic Park.
I went on it once. I don't remember it too much, but
so you go up this hill thing, and then you go into the back, and like there's a bunch of like dinosaurs in the water or something, and then you go into the Jurassic Park laboratory, and you go up, and like there's dinosaurs and stuff, and like flames and lights like yelling at you, and then like you go up and up and up and up, and then you turn a quarter, and there's this giant scary animatronic T-Rex, and like as it's lunging for you, and like you approach it slowly, and then as it's lunging for you, you plummet many stories, and then there's a huge kersplash at the end one. And it was like I didn't know that was coming, and yet like when it happened, like as we started to fall down, I looked at my dad with these like eyes, and he like held me. He's like, "No, it's gonna be okay. Don't worry." And like I didn't scream or anything. It was just like, but I could tell it was like, "This is gonna be intense." Oh, and then a kersplash, and then it was fun. I was like, "Holy cow!" Like the endorphins ran, but mostly because it was like a fight or flight kind of thing.
Well, yeah, that's the best part about amusement park rides is that you don't die. Like you want to feel like you're gonna die without the consequences of death, which is great. That's pretty much it. But
tell me your favorites.
It's actually at Universal Studios, if you can believe it, because I love Disney World, and I think Universal Studios is like a bunch of bullshit, but they knocked it out of the park with the Harry Potter world.
Oh, yeah?
And there's one ride.
And have you been to both now, or just the one?
Both Universal Studios?
Well, they have the Hogsmeade in Islands of Adventure and Diagon Alley and Studios Vanilla.
I went to Harry Potter World like 5 years ago, so whatever.
I don't think Diagon Alley opened then.
Yeah, but the ride I'm talking about did exist. Basically, people will know what I'm talking about. I don't need to say the name of it, but it is easily the best ride I've ever been on. The castle tour. No.
No? Oh, okay.
Well, maybe I don't remember what it's called. And you can spit out names, and I will not know if it's right or not. But it was just spectacular, because the best way I can describe it, it was like a Soarin' roller coaster.
Yep.
Which is, that was insane to me. The idea that you could combine those two things in one ride was so fucking cool. And I am not a big Harry Potter person, but I was blown away by how amazing that ride was. I loved it, and I've only ever been on it once, and I would love to go back. Would really love to go back.
I'd love to go on it, period.
Yeah, but other things I have good memories of, that really intense ride where my phone got stolen. You know what? It was still, that's how amazing a ride it was. I still have a positive memory of it, and I know what happened. They nerfed that ride. Because I've been back to the New York State Fair since, and it's not as intense. And I'm like, this is a bummer. I expect my phone to be flying out of my pocket.
Is nerf like
that's a term for softening something to make it less intense. Yeah. But, you know, just in general, I like amusement parks. I'm trying to think. I went to Disneyland once, and I'm trying to remember if anything stood out there, but... It's been a long time, and unfortunately, I mean, we had a had a fortunate family where we'd go to Disney World a lot. But with my dad's condition, basically traveling doesn't happen anymore. So it is a bummer, but the family vacations as we know it are just never going to happen again. And also, you reach a certain age. I don't know if you still do family vacations or anything.
We did like one 2 years ago. We went to Hawaii. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
We'll probably do more soon.
Good. But it's for my family, it used to be we do one every year. It wasn't necessarily a big spectacle well, actually, it kind of was. But, we'd save our money for it, which is great. Work hard, play hard. But I don't know. It's like this is straying away from amusement parks, but I feel like it's not something I ever thought about as a kid, but I just thought, yeah, family vacations, yay. But when you turn 25 like I have, I kind of wonder, like, when does that stop? You know what I mean? Like, you're always going to be a family, but it's like my parents don't go, okay, kids, hold on. We're going off with our parents and our siblings to go on a family vacation. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, there's the ones that go with like the T-shirts. It's like, yeah, we're Team Jones here in our family vacation or something like that. And I like those. I feel logistically they're a nightmare to manage unless everyone is like adults or something like that. Which is why I'm averse to going on them. But then there's also the friend trips. I definitely want to go like on a mass thing with my friends.
I've never been on a friend trip, and we've, as a group, we have wanted to go to Disney World, and it will more than likely fall upon me to coordinate this at some point because it usually does. But I would love to have that happen
because our friends are lazy.
Well, I guess I just kind of fell into that role. I don't mind. But
poor Joe, he's become the mom.
It's fine. I mean, listen, I spend a lot of my days thinking I'm not good enough, so it's nice to have like, oh, okay, I accomplished this today. Yeah. Especially now with my wonderful. I always thought Quarter Life Crisis was the dumbest shit. Like, that's fucking stupid. You're only 25. What are you assuming like that is?
Your whole life's ahead of you.
But now I'm like, oh, oh, I get it now. It's fucking intense. Like, especially if you like really love your family and like you're like really comfortable, like having to get out of the nest suck. That always depressed me. The idea of, like, baby birds got to leave their nest. Like, that's fucking sad. Like,
it's sad, but that's a sad metaphor. I always thought it was like neither a positive nor a negative thing and just a natural thing.
Yeah. I mean,
some people read your mom might be sad, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is natural, but it's easier to push it off into the future. But then when you have to like actually face it, it's like that'll be my biggest challenge. Easily is like moving on, especially like it's easier to make that transition with people. Like I think a lot of people. Maybe not too many, but a good chunk of people are fortunate enough to be able to like have a significant other. Like I had a very good friend who got married, and then he moved out of the house, so he could live with his wife and then have a dog. And like, yeah, that's a great transition. But like,
as we all know, having a dog is one of those great adult hallmarks.
It helps. You're not. The point I'm illustrating, you're not just moving out and then it's time to be alone. Cripplingly alone. Like, it's nice to move out to be with other people.
Yeah.
If it's for like, because in college, I think the reason it didn't suck so hard for me is I got to room with friends, people I really enjoyed, and that did help. But also in college, you're thinking like, this is temporary. This isn't the rest of my life. If I was in Syracuse and had the thought, I'll be here forever, I would fucking just go to the nearest cemetery and say, can I be the next burial? Like,
it's 9p.
Yeah, I'll be okay.
So when we say favorite rides, do we mean attractions by that metric? Or does it have to move you?
I suppose attractions is a fair thing to include.
Hooray! Because I really like the Carousel of Progress presented by General Electric at the Magic Kingdom.
You included the fucking corporate
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Why?
Because it's fun, and also GE.
Okay.
I watched. I think it was Yesterworld did Carousel of Progress recently.
Okay.
Their new episode, and I was reminded, it was like, oh yeah, GE sponsored that. That's cool, because that's what happened back in the day. Is like, Disneyland or whatever is like, our numbers are good, but how can they be better? Because we're barely breaking even. It's like, I know, we'll have people sponsor the rides, and apparently that's why a lot of the shit at Epcot is like closed. It's like all the Future World attractions, from Mission Space to Ellen's World of Energy to everything, had like different corporate tie-ins, and now they're all like, it's kind of a waste of money. Can we not have this anymore?
Can I tell you very briefly my favorite corporate tie-in?
At Disney?
Yes.
Okay.
At Animal Kingdom, they had Finding Nemo the musical, which I was like, this is fucking the worst thing that's ever happened to me. This will definitely be bullshit. But we were waiting, and then the show is about to begin. They do all their announcements about, this is where the exits are, fuck you, haha. And then they go, and now, the moment is here. Walt Disney World and McDonald's. I'm like, oh, that one hurt. I'm like, come on. Like,
The pause is everything.
Yeah.
Disney World and McDonald's.
there was that pause. I imagine it with even more of a pause, but there was definitely that pause, and it hurt. But all right, tell me about General Electric's Carousel Progress.
Well, I like Carousel of Progress, and as a close second, but also kind of on par, I don't know if it's changed at all, is Fantasmic. The Heroes versus Villains show at Hollywood Studios.
It should change. Like,
Oh, yeah. It's clearly like, I can tell Pocahontas just came out.
yeah, like they changed it in Disneyland, but they haven't implemented that in Disney World yet. I have not seen the Disneyland one, but I hear it's much better.
Oh.
Disney World, again, like you can feel how old it is, and it's annoying. I'm like, I don't fucking care about Pocahontas. I don't think anyone does. But you still get really suckered into it. So yeah, as a show, it's great. And actually, you probably haven't seen this yet, but you remember Wishes at Magic Kingdom, the fireworks show?
Yes.
They replaced that with something called Happily Ever After.
Yeah.
Now, Wishes was very sentimental to me and my family. My
Wishes
sister especially really liked it.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And
Like
so,
that there is childhood
yeah.
amazingness.
The music I especially remember fondly, and it was a little heartbreaking seeing it go. Mm-hmm. What they replaced it with is definitely better.
Oh.
I'll just say that much. It is really good.
Okay.
So, would recommend.
It's a fireworks display?
It is a fireworks display, but basically they have graphics on the castle, and it's just really visually fun to watch.
It's easy to see. It's not like obstructed or anything.
I mean,
like it's as clear as the quote unquote water screen at Fantasmic.
Hey, there are definitely, you can pick very bad spots to see it, but for the most part, yeah, you know, cool. I'd say 98% of spots are fine for it. But yeah, it's great. Disney World obviously is just the place to talk about in terms of amusement parks.
So yeah, I like Fantasmic. I just like the whole heroes versus villains thing, and then
it's a lot of fun.
So that's I've described Fantasmic for the listener, but for Carousel of Progress, it was originally, I think, a piece that Walt had developed for the '64 World's Fair in New York, and what it did was this theater rotated around this fixed set thing in the middle, and there was always 4 different little vignettes with talking animatronics, and it talked about, the first vignette was set around the turn of the century, and it went through. I realized now, after having seen the Yesterworld video, like it went through several variations. The vignettes were sort of changed. Also, like it used to be a lot more sexist in how it was presented. Like, oh boy, I'm glad they changed this. It actually is like a lot better now.
That's good.
And instead of like in one of the scenes is like like the like it focuses on the father talking to the audience, and then it interacts with his children, his youngest son, his daughter, his wife Sarah, and like other family members. And like the scene in like the second one is like, honey, make sure my something is sewn up. Yes, dear. And then they changed it to like he asks her a question and she's like, something, and he's like, yes, dear. And I'm like,
more of a sitcom. Okay.
More of a sitcom, and like that's more funny and also cooler. But yeah, it was a turn of the century one set around Valentine's Day, a 20s one set around the 4th of July, a 40s one set around Halloween, and a quote unquote present day, i.e., the world that was the future in 1993.
Wow,
was the last one. Yeah, like, well, actually, I remember it was kind of hokey. It's like, okay, the setting kind of looks like it does now, but the main joke of that vignette was the dad is making his famous New Year's Eve chili, and it's set at like Christmas, New Year's time, and they have an automated oven that is powered by voice command. But they also have this new virtual reality thing that allows the wearer to like interact. It's like kind of like a space theme, and the thing is like, and like I guess the mom was like getting a higher and higher score, and the dad's like, oh, like 500, not bad. But however, because the oven responds to his voice command, it increased the temperature up and up and up until like it blew out, or like there was a burn thing or something like that. But I'm like, the future, what a silly place. But now we have VR video games. They're really hot shit. And we also have voice command lights and other household appliances. I don't know if ovens are there yet, but with Amazon Echo, it is reality now. So
yeah,
well, we reached progress. Okay.
I mean, they really sorely need to update that, especially because it's like we go to the 1900s, to the 1920s, to the 1940s, to the future. Like, whoa, what the like? Nowadays, it's like that's a pretty big jump.
It used in the original one. It was basically like a sort of Mad Men 60s set piece. Like a couple.
But like nowadays.
But then they changed it to like, nowadays.
Yeah, there's so much time that's elapsed that it's like, it just really needs an update if you're going to keep it around.
Well, that's, and I like that a lot because I like the history. I like the animatronics. It is very sweet and heartwarming. And the song's great too. The Sherman Brothers. There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day.
Indeed.
Indubitably. So that's good. I also, I saw, I also understand, I think I saw Tony Goldmark's video on this, how the Hall of Presidents has changed year to year to year.
Yeah.
I saw it when Bill Clinton was current president, and I saw it 2 or 3 other times when President Bush was president. I was never at Disney World through all of Barack Obama's presidency, and I also have not back since President Trump assumed office. But it was interesting to see how they incorporated. They changed the video, which was real. It's really just a series of frames about the early republic through like how the Civil War happened and stuff like that, and then they go through the list of presidents. Lincoln, I think, gives a speech, and then the current president records a speech. I remember Clinton's being fine, Bush's being pretty good. I heard Obama's like on YouTube. Apparently with President Trump's, they took his inauguration speech, like parts of A, his swearing in when taking the oath of office, and B, like his inauguration speech, and they just put it in the animatronic. And like I think they have like George Washington talking about like the oath of office and like the presidency, like as President Trump was like miming out his own like inauguration, stuff like that. So he never recorded anything for it, which, may be a good or bad thing depending on who you're asking. But I don't know. I always found it weird that like the current president is the one who speaks. Like, why not just have Lincoln say something cool and that's it?
Yeah, but I mean, also, who gives a fuck about the Hall of Presidents? I mean,
I do.
I know you do.
History, and I love history.
I know. But yeah.
And I love how like curtain rises, and then the silhouettes, they recite the preamble to the Constitution. I always like that bit.
Yeah. I gotta say, I mean, there's no transition into this. I think I was talking about it like 40 minutes ago or something, but Epcot used to be a lame fucking place to be, and it's definitely a lot cooler now.
Oh, great. I thought it was cool even then.
I mean, I'm talking 2001, like before Mission Space. Like before.
Oh, well, this was also before Mission Space.
I mean, like, yeah, they had the World Showcase and shit like that, but like
But that wasn't fun because we couldn't drink. Yeah.
It was like a zoo, but with countries instead of like animals. It's like, okay.
And rides.
Barely.
Oh yeah. So they turned the Maelstrom into Frozen.
Okay, can we talk about this quick?
Sure.
How fucking long have we been going? Because this is easily going to be our longest one.
Over an hour and a half.
What the fuck?
I fully intended we can talk about Epcot briefly and then we can do our
No,
wrap-up.
I mean, it's fine. Like, fuck it, we'll just go on for 8 hours. But no, okay, so the Maelstrom ride that they used to have at Epcot, it was a cool, underrated ride that I really enjoyed.
I loved it, yeah.
But basically, it started off as like a dark ride, kind of like sort of a roller coaster, but at one point...
It was a flume ride, really.
Well, yeah, and it had this really cool twist, basically, where this monster showed up, and all of a sudden...
troll.
Yes, all of a sudden your thing is going backwards. And it's so fucking cool. And then basically doors open up and you think that your vehicle is going to fall out the back. And you're like, oh no, you're going to drop off into the park, which was not much of a drop, but, still, it was frightening enough. And then you go forward again, and it's fun. Mm-hmm. Now they have a Frozen ride there, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Fine. I don't feel like it fits in the World Showcase because Frozen doesn't really scream like Norway. Yeah, like
well,
it is set there, but it doesn't scream it.
No, it does not.
Mulan screams China. Frozen doesn't scream.
They also,
Norway.
they also say China in Mulan.
Yes,
as opposed to Frozen where they just say Arendelle. But where is Arendelle?
But basically, this is a dark ride. Mm-hmm. Cool. And you're just kind of going through Frozen shit, and it's fun. And you're like, oh, where's Elsa? When's Elsa going to show up? And you see Elsa, and she's about, you can tell she's getting to the chorus of Let It Go. And she's like, let it go! And all of a sudden, the fucking ride starts going backwards. And it's then I realized they used the same fucking track. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. They're lazy. But I'm like, in the other one, it's like, oh shit, a monster! Whoa! We're going backwards. And this one, she just sings Let It Go. And I'm like, what is our motivation for going backwards now? It's like we're running away from it. Like, no, please stop singing.
Fair enough.
And it looks nice, and if you had never been on the ride before, I don't think you'd bat an eye, but I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, why are we going backwards? But, I mean, the animatronics these days are so good. So.
Are they going to turn the Mexico river ride into Coco, or do you know?
It makes sense that they would. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they will, but,
but I like
at least Coco screams Mexico.
Yeah. Well, so does the Three Amigos.
It does,
Caballeros.
yes. Coco arguably more, though.
Yes.
So...
Well, actually, I mean, Three Caballeros, you've seen it, right?
Yeah. The
whole last, third of Three Caballeros is just Donald trying to find a woman.
Yeah. Yeah. No, one of my favorite things to do at Disney World, and again, I just don't go as often as I used to, but it'd just be going on obscure rides that no one gives a shit about.
Because there's no lines, and I love that.
And that one, I went no line for that one. I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna
The Mexico ride?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was pretty much alone in the entire ride. Like, nice. So those are my favorites. Rides that they just built to pad out the park and no one gives a shit about. But I'm like, I will go to this for fun. it's so stupid. I'm basically just encouraging them to not get off their ass and like add rides that people give a shit about, but it's fun.
Well, then there's also the rides, I guess attractions that I've never been on in each of the countries. I know China has a 360 thing. Canada has a 360 thing that Martin Short narrates. And then there's the American Adventure, which I guess is like an animatronic presentation with like Ben Franklin and Mark Twain. Have you been on any of those?
I at some point I've been on pretty much everything.
Okay.
So
Can you remember the American Adventure? Where it's
barely.
like I've only seen a few screenshots. I'm like, what is this like? Like what do Franklin and Mr. Clemens talk about? I don't know.
Yeah. But
do you want to hear about my prostitute adventures in France? Well, sure. You want to hear about all the times I used the N-word in the book I wrote?
whoops.
Whoops. We're dated.
Yeah. But hey, amusement parks are fun, and like apparently we have a lot to say about them. I'm sure I could keep. I didn't even mention Animal Kingdom's new shitty nighttime show.
Do tell.
There's nothing to tell. It just sucks. It's just so stupid.
There's like one firework.
Like, well, they tried, like, but it sucks. But yeah, it's this is our longest episode yet.
It is, and we still haven't even done a fuck yeah this week.
No, we haven't.
No,
we're gonna have to blaze through that.
Let's do it. Do you have something in mind?
I didn't, but I there's something I can kind of think of, sort of.
Okay.
But do you have yours?
I do have mine.
All right, that'll give me slightly more time to think.
So I was driving. Well, actually, no. I changed my mind.
Okay.
We. This is actually something very personal for like the both of us. So we were coming back from a bar. The next town over, and I don't know why, but I just started singing a song from Irving Berlin's White Christmas, and then you joined in with me, and we've never sang a duet ever.
Really?
And it was like so magical because we knew all the words, and it's not like it was an easy song. Like the melody is, I mean, there is no, the part we were singing didn't have harmonic necessities, but like the lyrics are not the easiest to sing without having rehearsed them at all, and we did it perfectly.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really liked that.
Okay, I've got a good fuck yeah this week.
Cool.
And yeah, that was, I did not realize we've never sang like that together.
Nope.
So, and it was cool. Like, yeah, we were
only in ensembles in school.
nerding the fuck out, but it was great. So I use a random number generator all the time to make decisions. This might be questionable, but fuck it. It's fun.
What's your range?
Oh, it depends on basically however many items I have. I just adjust the
1
range.
to 300.
Like, which Pixar movie am I going to see? 1 through 20. Oh, 14. All right, I'm seeing this movie. Like,
that
so,
would be.
Can you do it?
Cars 2?
No.
Fuck.
Keep going.
Brave.
Keep going.
Finding Dory.
No.
Monsters U.
Yes. Congrats! But basically, I suddenly had the thought, there was no transition into this, but I just suddenly thought, what if I got a prize wheel? What if?
I saw this as I was walking in.
Yes. Did you like think anything about that? Like,
I know you talked about it before. But...
Yes, and I fucking got a prize wheel, and now I have a prize wheel, and I'm so fucking happy.
Well, what are your But how many colors are there?
There are 14 slots. There's 7 colors that repeat. It was hard to find a good one.
Well, better hope you don't have 15 choices to make.
Yeah. Well, that's, yes.
Otherwise, you'll have to seed.
Those are the limitations. Although, you can technically just like draw in dividers and things like that. But
keep dividing down to like 64 slots.
But it's just fucking because I still use a random number generator, and with the wheel you have to write in the choices. But it's something fucking awesome. Like I can just. My dad had a list of his favorite activity is having household chores done, and so I just went time for the wheel of chores, and I made him come up with 14 chores. I put him on the wheel, like wee. And he's like so annoyed. But I'm like, hey, I'm like helping you, so this is a win for both of us.
So spinning that wheel was so fun.
Yeah. And then I had a wheel of Pixar movies, and like, because I was with my family, it's like, let's see what Pixar movie we're gonna watch. And my mom gave it a spin. It landed on Cars 3, and we all went, let's spin again. Which sort of defeats the purpose of the wheel, but yeah, whatever.
I have an anecdote about a wheel thing. I was in this student-written sketch comedy showcase in my senior year of college, and they pegged me for shock of all shocks, a game show announcer. Oh boy, what a stretch.
Wow.
And I didn't do this at all in rehearsal, but I believe it was the second night I was just throwing caution to the wind. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this joke, see if it lands. And the premise of the sketch, I think, was like this guy was sort of ants in his pants about asking this girl to go to this concert with him. And then out of nowhere, like these judges and I show up out of nowhere with this prize wheel, and it's like, it's time for Find That Insecurity, and like I spun the wheel, and jokes happen and stuff like that, and then like the dramatic resolution was the guy's like, hey, I don't have to listen to you, game show host. I'm gonna go ask out the girl because I'm confident now, and like he accused the wheel of like being wrong, and I was like, "What are you talking about? The wheel isn't wrong." He's like, "No, the wheel is wrong." And then the line is, "The wheel doesn't lie, Marcus." But throughout the running of that sketch night, I'd been saying wheel. So at that point, I said the line like, "The wheel is wrong. The wheel doesn't lie, Marcus," for no reason whatsoever. And people laughed. So I was like, "Ooh, I'm sure it wasn't isn't Brandan funny?" I was like, "Wow, that was really stupid."
Yeah, but it was funny.
Yeah.
And let me say, just like, it was really emphasized by the microphone too. Because, like, I'm glad you're closer to the microphone this time, but the whole time, like, it hasn't been consistent enough for me to be like, oh, wait, like, I can't catch it, but there's like, oh man.
What do you need?
Like,
What do you need? What do you need?
Like, so it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, Brandon, you will be a bit poppy, but it's not like this is our longest episode, so there's nothing.
Oh, this will not be our longest episode, to be sure.
Probably not.
That's called foreshadowing.
But we do have to do our special segment.
Yeah.
I do have a special segment in mind.
Oh, right, our special segment.
I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but my special segment is Eat This Pickle. Are you willing to participate in this special segment?
That depends how sanitary is it.
It is perfectly sanitary.
Okay.
These are pickles I bought.
Is there anything special about them?
Oh, you're going to find out.
Okay.
Is this a good pickle? Does this look good to you?
I like pickles.
All right, we're
Let
going
me
to
give it some Foley work.
Here we go. He's going to eat this pickle. Oh, he's eating that pickle.
That's real spicy.
It's a spicy pickle.
That's really spicy.
Yeah. I'm really into them.
Can you turn it?
It's hot and spicy pickle.
Good God, that's like... This isn't... this is beyond jalapeno, but definitely below habanero. Because if this was a habanero sensation, I would be demanding my half-gallon of milk right now.
They're good. I like them.
Is my face red?
It was a little tiny bit red.
Okay.
I had one much earlier, if it makes you feel better.
How many have you had at once?
At once, 2, and I've been tempted to go to 3, but I'm like, I won't be able to use my tongue for an hour if I do 3, so I had to stop.
And we all know how much Drew loves to use his tongue.
Yeah, exactly. So your tongue will be out of commission. I mean, you can still eat. It's just not going to taste as good, but it's going to be 15 minutes.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry about that. But, sometimes on Whistle While You Dork, your tongue is just too tickly to do the lickum.